What's going on YouTube? So the Nissan Rogue has long been a popular choice in the compact crossover segment.
And following a refresh last year, Nissan is continuing to add to the Rogue with a new trim level and more.
So is this Rogue better than ever? And is this new Rock Creek trim the one to buy? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Let's go ahead and start things out under the hood. So there continues to be one powertrain available on all versions of the 2025 Rogue. It's a 1.5 liter variable compression turbo 3-cylinder engine. It makes 201 horsepower. It is going to be paired to a continuously variable transmission. And on this all-wheel drive Rock Creek model, our fuel economy is coming in at 29 miles per gallon combined.
Now, of course, we can't wait to take this Rock Creek out on the road to show you the ride quality as well as things like our signature sound level reading. After that, we'll also be discussing resale and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood because this vehicle really looks substantially different on the outside as well as the inside. So let's get into those things. So as soon as you walk up to this Rogue Rock Creek, you are going to see those substantial changes I was just talking about. What Nissan does with these models is really make them look a lot more, off-road capable and rugged. Up in the front, we're going to have, of course, your signature V-Motion grille, which is right through here, all finished in a gloss black. You're going to have some special orange accenting here with your Nissan branding and these inserts up at the top. The other thing, though, is that this part of the front end is going to be gloss black like the grille. So it kind of extends that out, makes this, again, look tougher than the other models. And they've also butched up this lower part of the fascia as well and added some more of those accents. Now, as far as the lighting is concerned, it is the same this year. So you're going to have full LED headlights across the range. These are reflector LEDs located in this housing right here. And then in the separate housing up at the top, we have our LED daytime running light and an incandescent turn signal indicator. Now, walking around to the back, just like with the front, you are going to see a few changes for Rock Creek duty.
Yeah, so what are those changes? Well, you're going to get some more of those orange accents, and you do have this new badge over here on the right side. Now, Drew's hopping inside so we can check out the taillights and see if all the elements are LED. We do have an LED brake light portion, incandescent reverse light, and incandescent turn signal indicator. So 1 out of 3 elements are LED. That's pretty much the standard affair for this segment right now. As we drop down to the lower fascia, this is going to be finished in a rugged matte black. You're also going to have a 1,500 pound tow rating, and that goes for every version of the Rogue.
Now, moving on to our wheels, you have a lot of different choices, beginning at 17-inch alloys, ranging up to 19-inch options. The Rock Creek comes with a 17-inch unique alloy wheel, so this is a kind of matte black finish. You have, again, those signature orange accents, and then what's most important here is what's wrapped around these wheels. So what you'll see is that we have all-terrain tires. This is one of the main things that's adding extra capability to this trim level to back up the looks. Now you've got the matte black around the wheel arches, special Rock Creek branding here on the side. The mirrors are going to be finished gloss black as well, and you have standard heating and blind spot monitoring.
Now at the side of the Rogue, we have an overall vehicle length of 183 inches, and you're probably noticing this is a little bit taller than your average Rogue, and that's because we have these really big raised roof rails here on the Rock Creek. They're actually made of real metal, and I love the way it looks with this vehicle. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, you're going to get most of those as standard equipment on every Rogue. If you choose the SV and up, you'll additionally add things like adaptive cruise control, and new for 2025 and optional on SL and Platinum trim levels is ProPilot 2.1. Now, basically what that system will allow you to do is in some circumstances take your hands off the wheel and the vehicle will actually do some of the driving for you. So that's a very advanced feature to see in this segment. But let's go ahead and dive into the interior. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, now let's go ahead and check out the interior. First, here's our key fob. Typical Nissan affair. You do have intelligent entry as well as remote start on the fob for all but the base trim level. Now getting inside, there's no sensor behind the handle, so just press the button right there and that will unlock the door. All right, now checking out the interior. Like Mason mentioned, this is coming off of a refresh last year, so you're not going to notice huge changes for 2025, but just like with the outside, Rock Creek does give some exclusive details. We'll get into all of those in a second, but we're going to begin here with our seats. So across the trim lineup, you begin with cloth seats. You have leatherette in the middle, real leather, and you can even get quilted semi-aniline leather on the top platinum. The Rock Creek is going to land right there in the middle of the lineup, as you'd expect. So it is mostly leatherette, but we do have a cloth insert down the center section. This is a very nice looking seat. I love the Rock Creek branding up there at the top. Charcoal is the only color you can get with the orange stitching. Down below, we have 8 ways of power adjustment with 2-way lumbar support on all but the base trim level. And we do even have memory seats on board with this model today. Let's go ahead and get inside. And now that I'm inside, let's look at the rest of the cabin materials. Now, despite Rock Creek being in the middle of the lineup, it still has very good materials. Over here on our door trim, we've got a leatherette going all through here and through the center section, soft touch plastic along the top. As we move to the upper dashboard, all of this is a soft touch plastic. This center section is complete with the leatherette. You have a piano black accent underneath of that, and then down here along the console, you have kind of a brushed effect going on, and it will be hard touch through there. We'll go ahead and fire it up with our push button start located over here. Now let's go ahead and jump into some individual features of the interior. First of all, as always, we'll begin with our gauge cluster. So there's 2 different arrangements on the Rogue. You can get a full digital cluster, but you're going to have to get 2 of the highest end trim levels. This is going to be the standard gauge cluster on the Rock Creek with the 7-inch multi-function display. Of course, it is reconfigurable to a certain degree, and then you've got the analog gauges on the outside edges. A head-up display is also offered on Platinum. Now, Rock Creek gives you an exclusive new steering wheel. I like the look of this. They've really squared off the airbag cover. It's also a flat bottom design. And like I said, overall, it's a pretty cool look with that orange accent through there. Manual tilt and telescoping. We also have the optional heating since we have the Rock Creek Premium package. Now, let's take a look at our interior storage. We have the butterfly opening console, and inside you'll notice we have donuts inside. That's because at Car Confections, we put donuts in the center console so we can check the volume. And today we have an impressive result of 12. That passes the donut test because it fits the full dozen donuts. Now in front of that, you have 2 cup holders. We have a nice wireless phone charging pad and a couple USBs up there. And then we can't forget about this really nice center pass-through. So you can stick lots of different things down here as your heart desires. As far as the shifter is concerned, Nissan electronic style with the kind of square shape. Just pull back for drive, bump back again if you want to activate a manual shift mode. So you can go through simulated gear changes with these paddle shifters. Pressing forward, we go into reverse, and this is our 360-degree around view monitor. This is included beginning at the Rock Creek middle trim level. And as you can see, it gives you that overhead view. You can also switch between some other views as well. So it's helpful not just for parking, but also in this trim level for doing some off-roading. You might need to get around an obstacle or something like that. Then just press the P there for park. You have your electronic parking brake with brake hold behind that. And we also have a drive mode controller. As we continue this direction, we come to our climate controls. This is the dual zone automatic arrangement on this version. 3-zone is actually offered on your highest end trim levels, but super simple adjustment. As you can see, you've got physical controls for all of the important functions. Here's where you turn on and off your heated steering wheel I was mentioning earlier. Also want to draw your attention to the heated seats, which are included on all but the base trim level. Just be aware, even the top model will not give you ventilated seats. Rising above, let's check out the audio system next. So in terms of the Rock Creek, you're going to have the mid-level 6-speaker sound system. There's also a Bose system offered on your top models, but let's give this one a sample. Yeah, overall sound quality, not bad at all. Certainly for that, 6-speaker sound system, it has good bass reproduction and fills up the cabin pretty nicely. Okay, let's go to our infotainment screen. So Rogue continues to offer 2 different display types, and that is going to depend on which trim level you choose. Rock Creek does come with the lower one, which is an 8-inch display. That's what you're looking at right now. Both versions are going to run Nissan software, but there are some differences between them. The important thing that I know all you guys will be interested to know about is the fact that wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are only going to be available on your upper end 12.3-inch display. So that's going to be on the top trims. You still do have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but you will have to connect with a USB connection if you want that. Also, navigation is going to be reserved for the top models with Google built in. Now, up top, we have the available auto-dimming mirror on the Rock Creek. Of course, the panoramic sunroof is available on most of the trim levels, but you cannot get that here on the Rock Creek.
So let's go ahead and dive into the rear seat area of this Rogue Rock Creek. Before we even get into the rear, I want to point out these rear doors are some of the widest opening rear doors I've ever seen. It's pretty much 90 degrees, which of course is going to make it super easy to load in a child seat or whatever you may need here in the second row. I like that feature. Now, as far as the space is concerned, that's another thing you're probably concerned about. We're looking at 38.5 inches of legroom, 39.2 inches of headroom. So those are going to be very class competitive space figures. However, it's not going to be like the maximum amount of space that you can get in the segment. However, I'm 5'9" for reference. This seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8", and we're looking at a very solid about 7.5 inches of knee room. My feet can also slide up underneath the seat. These seats are quite comfortable, and they do recline ever so slightly. It's going to be about, I would say, like 2 degrees. So not a huge recline, but it is nice that you can do some. We have 2 cup holders here in the center, a nice armrest. Then as far as features here in the center, we're going to have standard vents on every single version of the Rogue. That's very nice. We also have 2 charging USB ports, and you can even get heated rear seats and your own zone of climate if you choose the top-end models, such as the Platinum, and you're even going to have rear window sunshades as well. Now, as far as features on this door trim, it's going to be hard touch on the upper part. We have leatherette all through the center section, though, and we have a ton of door storage. As a matter of fact, I did bring a pretty big water bottle here with me today, and as you can see, it easily is swallowed up in that door storage. Walking up to the tailgate, most of the trim levels will have a power option. You do also have a kick feature as well. Now, as far as the space is concerned back here, we're going to have quite a lot of it, actually. You're going to be sitting at about 36 cubic feet of space behind the second row of seats. As a maximum, you'll look at about 74 cubic feet on this Rogue. Now, as far as how that compares to the competition, that is actually going to be a really big figure. It's bigger than Toyota RAV4, for instance. It's also going to be bigger than other new options such as the Equinox. Really, the only thing that is smaller than would be the Honda CR-V. Now, as far as the features are concerned back here, we do have a 12-volt outlet. There are not any handles to fold the second row, so you do have to kind of reach up and do that. However, it's honestly not too difficult, even for someone who's just of a moderate height like myself. They do fold 60-40 split, and this is a Car Confections review after all, so let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures. From behind Drew's driving position at 5'8", we're looking at an overall cargo length of around 72 inches. From behind the second row, about 36 inches, so it's exactly half. As far as the cargo opening, that's going to be pretty good, 44 inches. And then the height is also going to be coming in at a little over 31 inches tall. Underneath of the floor, we do have a spare tire. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the Nissan Rogue. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading. But first of all, we want to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
All right, that was 60 miles an hour. So let's talk about this engine because, there's always a lot of discussion about it being a turbocharged 3-cylinder engine. There's a few other turbo 3-cylinders in this segment, but by and large, it's, more of the rare thing versus just a regular 4-cylinder engine. Power output on this is pretty good. 201 horsepower and 225 pound-feet of torque. Especially with the torque, I think you really notice that when you take off. They have done a good job of kind of tuning everything to feel really nice and responsive. It does have kind of a zippy feel when you get off the line. Relative to a lot of the competition, this actually is faster than those models and feels faster behind the wheel.
Yeah, the torque. We lived with this vehicle for an entire week not too long ago for the refreshed model, and the torque is just really what you feel on the day-to-day when you're moving in traffic and whatnot. It does feel very punchy, so that's certainly nice. Now, I do want to point out this is the only engine option for the Rogue. There is no other option, so you can't get the previous 4-cylinder that this model had, or that's what's in the Mitsubishi Outlander. That's not available, and there's also not a hybrid option available either, which I think is a little bit of a mistake on Nissan's end. I think they need to get that hybrid model out because a lot of the competitors are selling, a third or maybe even close to a half of all of their sales in the hybrid configuration. So I'm still disappointed that they have not added that for the 25 Rogue.
Now, this is a variable compression turbo 3-cylinder, and what variable compression means is that they can change the compression ratio on the fly to maximize power or efficiency. Now, we'll talk about fuel economy in just a second, but, by and large, that does seem to be pretty effective in regard to this product specifically, giving you good power for the segment, and you do get good fuel economy for a standard engine that's not a hybrid.
Yeah, and we'll go ahead and talk about the fuel economy. So the front-wheel drive version of this vehicle is going to come in at 33 miles per gallon combined. Like Drew said, that is a very impressive figure as a standard engine option in this segment. All-wheel drive 31 mpg. And then, this Rock Creek will get quite a bit worse fuel economy. We were a little bit surprised to see how much worse it is, but of course, a lot of those design elements that you're getting with this model, as well as the all-terrain tires, don't really help your fuel economy. So we're sitting at 29 mpg, which still is not a bad figure at all, but it is going to be, about 4 mpg worse than the best version of the Rogue that you can get.
Now, I was just kind of accelerating relatively casually up that hill while Mason was finishing talking about fuel economy, and, that's a good example of the next thing I want to talk about, the transmission. So this is the Xtronic CVT. It is Nissan's latest generation, and they've done a lot to make this, the best one they've ever made. Basically, one of the things that we really like is the shift simulation. No matter what level of acceleration you give it, you do get the simulation. A lot of the rivals maybe only give you the simulation if you floor it all the way to the ground. This kind of just gives you that more conventional feel in the day-to-day, helps you not to have that droning sensation that makes you feel like you're going slower, even if you're not.
Yeah, and you know what? We're going 55 miles per hour, so let me go ahead and put it on fan speed 1, and we can get our sound level reading for this Rock Creek Rogue. .3 decibels is our official sound level reading for this model. I don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to the competition. I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings, and on our website we posted all of this vehicle's competition. We've tested out all of them, and there is a lot in this segment. Now, that sound level reading does place this towards the middle of the segment when it comes to readings, and I have to say I'm not surprised by that, because this Rock Creek does add stuff like the big roof rail setup on the top that normally adds a lot of wind noise, and really that's the main thing that I am hearing in this vehicle is the additional wind noise over the regular Rogue. I don't hear a lot of the tire noise, which I think that's a good thing because we do have all-terrain tires on board. As expected, that does mean that this is going to be a little bit louder than the Rogue Platinum that we tested out last year that has the more conventional and sleek setup, but I don't think it's really all that bad for, what looks to be a giant roof rail setup at the top.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is owed to the fact there is no sunroof at all on this version. And since we're talking about all-terrain tires, you probably want to know, about, do you feel them when you're driving around, things like that. Not really. It really rides quite smooth and nicely. Like I said, there's no real vibrations or anything that you can sometimes get from all-terrain tires at certain speeds. And the small size of the wheels really, I think, helps the ride quality a lot. It's already just, a very smooth model, no matter what type of wheel size you get, such as the highest one in the Platinum trim level, but this certainly does no harm.
All right, let's get into our Car Confections Slam Dunk and Airball, which is our favorite and least favorite element. Drew, why don't you kick us off with the Slam Dunk?
So for the Slam Dunk, we're going to say this edition of the Rock Creek model. I think it's a smart move for Nissan. A lot of the rivals have this type of vehicle now on offer, and it's very popular with customers. Clearly, I think they did a good job of executing it as well. It looks very nice, and it's really a pretty good package overall in the middle of the lineup.
Yeah, I think the only thing we were talking about that we wish this trim level had was the larger display. That would be certainly nice if they had thrown that in for this model. Now, as far as the Airball is concerned, that's just going to be the hybrid, or the lack of a hybrid option, shall I say. I'm not going to really reiterate that. I kind of already went into that discussion, but it would be a very popular choice, so Nissan needs to add that. Now, a couple more things to mention. I do want to point out front-wheel drive is standard on all versions of this vehicle. Besides for the Rock Creek, all-wheel drive is standard for this trim level. And as far as your warranty information, you have a 3-year 36 basic, 5-year 60 powertrain, and new for 2025 on all Nissan products is that you're going to get 2 years of complimentary maintenance, which is something that a lot of the rivals like Toyota and Honda are including, so I'm happy to see that Nissan is now including that as well. Now, in a time when everything goes up in price, I'm happy to tell you that most of the Rogues don't rise too much in price this year. All of the trim levels are going to be less than $1,000 more this year, and this new Rock Creek all-wheel drive starts at about $35,400. Like Drew mentioned, this is kind of the middle-of-the-row type of trim level. We do also have the premium package, which adds quite a few different things. $1,390 for a destination. All told, we're sitting at $38,725. Now, if you're looking to buy a Nissan Rogue or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a car is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's go ahead and dive into resale and reliability. So let's first dive in by discussing resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Nissan Rogue's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 50.5% of its original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 16.4%. Now, as an industry whole, it's right around the average. However, it is going to be quite a bit less than some of the other Japanese offerings, such as Honda, Toyota, and Subaru.
I've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Nissan is rated just about right at the industry average for all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values and reliability data, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new car is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to be it for our in-depth review of the new 2025 Nissan Rogue Rock Creek. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to get the latest car reviews such as this on this new trim level, and you're also going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun, and we do a lot of car reviews that I promise you won't want to miss. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.